Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the update for, well, I guess it's technically yesterday now because it's about 12:40 in the morning right now. This is the update for, it's going to be July the 13th of 2026. Although, like I said, it's just after midnight, so it's technically the 14th, but we're talking about the 13th, which, by the way, I am going to put one of my nice little, headlines up there for this one, telling what date it was. I forgot that step on the previous update, the one for the 12th, which, by the way, I did record actually before my shift this morning, which is actually why I'm wearing the same exact undershirt that I was wearing before I actually went to work, because it's still technically the same day. Crazy, isn't it, how if I'm doing two updates and I'm recording them like 10 minutes apart, I'll change shirts to make it not look like the same day. But on this one, when it actually is the same day but 15 hours apart that I'm filming, I seem to have no problem with that. Actually, now that I think about it, it's been so long ago now, since then, that I actually did change my hair after work. And speaking of, I mentioned yesterday that I might be messing around with hair product. And what I ended up doing this time, or maybe a couple of days ago, I mentioned it, tried one of those products where you can, I think it's called like blowout. Basically, the idea is that you put this in and it makes your hair like silkier. Because of course I use a hair dryer which like dries it out and stuff. So tried that, and during at least the work, my shift, just kind of let it, because I wanted to see what it would look like with this like silky stuff in it, but just natural. Leaning towards maybe actually getting another haircut and shortening things up a little bit. If you saw my previous update, again, the one that I've referenced before, kind of saw what this looked like when it's down. Jury's still out on it. So we'll see. But anyway, so But anyway, so then later on, I kind of styled it back closer to the way that I normally would. Anyway, an experimental hairstyle might be on the horizon. We'll see. Anywho, let's see. So after 3 minutes in and finally talking about what I actually did today, after posting yesterday's update, went to work. It was a bagging shift, 7 to 4. And this day ended up being mostly a bagging shift. And ended up, caught up with the lead accountant, the one who I was covering for her like 5-day weekend, just, making sure everything's up to speed and we're good. And we are, which is good. And then, basically a bagging day. And trying to think, is there anything really out of the ordinary or redonkulous going on today? Not really. No. Trying to focus on thinking a little bit more about interesting like customer stories and things. During my updates, see, believe it or not, on my personal Facebook back when like written posts were still a thing, I would oftentimes focus my I would do a daily like written Facebook post, and I would usually focus on a customer interaction of some sort, and debating trying to focus on a interaction or something like that, like trying one of those old school type of posts again. But I actually was also coming up with a new idea of what I'm going to do with, or what I'm thinking about doing with regards to this whole like social media thing. a more realistic approach, you could say. And I was thinking a lot about that today, and if we have time, I'll get to that as well. Something I hadn't thought about including in this video, but now it just came to me, so we might go there if we have time. Anyway, but the big part of today is, and then after, strike that, went to the gym after work as per usual, and then, of course, because I believe in offsetting the gym with high quality food, went to Wendy's. And then I proceeded to continue with the loading project. Again, we're approaching the end game. Not quite there yet, but we're approaching the end game of this whole, like, moving process where things from upstairs are coming down to this garage and then now have the storage facility and are moving things out. Well, we've actually made a lot of progress. This is actually now the back behind me here of the garage. And one of the reasons, by the way, I do these videos in all sorts of various areas of my house, nothing lasts forever. Who knows how long, this will be. I know I've at least got a year, and hopefully longer here. But, you never know. And, of course, design and decor changes and whatnot, and these vlogs will sooner or later be like a living history of how things looked around my house, and who knows, maybe like 40 years from now or whenever, when my time comes, be sitting there like at the end, oh yeah, I remember that apartment, gosh, how remember how I was all worked up that day about the accounting office or whatever. Been thinking about years from now, watching these videos and what I might think about it. Particularly, if life is entirely changed, and honestly, that's another reason why I actually enjoy doing this. It kind of documents, just stuff. Anyway, so this moving over this as I'm getting tongue twisted here, this project has ultimately been reducing the amount of clutter that's in this garage, and it's been quite successful. Pointing it the camera the other direction, you wouldn't really tell it. You wouldn't be able to tell, but we've actually moved a lot of stuff out of here. It's not nearly as much stuff in here as there was a week or 10 days ago. Believe it or not, this is a lot of stuff that has left. And back here, that's the garage in its entirety. And, yeah. And we found all sorts of things here. Again, really in this interesting position in that this garage has become, again, through a bunch of different things, essentially family historical stuff from my dad's side of the family, and particularly my dad's mother's side. Basically the lineage for a lot of the family historical stuff has gone straight to me, from all the way up to like my great grandma. And it's been actually quite interesting. And there's stuff down here that I wasn't even aware of, like family history stuff that I wasn't even aware of. And some of that's been quite fascinating, including postcards that like my great grandmother sent to my grandma. All right, and which is even more fascinating considering the fact that my great grandma who wrote these letters was actually the immigrant that actually was on the ship that came over from Denmark. It was just crazy. There are letters from her in some of this stuff. That box right there, the one that I put on the shelf and did not take to storage, actually has some of these letters, but there's a whole bunch of these things like that around here, and it's just absolutely fascinating to go through as well. Anyway, I didn't get to the whole spiel that I was going to get to, and I want to remember to get back to that thing that I said I'd get back to, but for now I'm out of time. Have a good one.